This is my diffraction grating holder. It rotates the grating about the grating surface, and it's got a large pulley on the side. The pulley is turned by a wire. This is my grating rotator. Right now I have a mirror on there just for alignment, but my grating will go on here. But you can see the spring and my banjo string that's wrapped around this pulley that rotates it, and this threaded rod pulls the string and rotates it like so. Very slow, but that's exactly what I need. Okay, well, I put a Sharpie mark on it. It's a little more visible. So that's all I have to do is line these up, and it also has to be parallel. It can't be cocked in this direction, so I hope I get this right. Take my tape off. And here it goes. Yep. Just going by feel, and then press it on without touching the surface. Not so easy to do. There we go. There's my grating. Before I can finally close up the top to my monochromator, I have to do one more thing, and that's to put in some light baffles. Without some light baffles, the light can go directly from the first slit to the second slit, causing problems and reduced contrast, or worse. So for my baffles, I used aluminum flashing, and I took care to make sure that to get it straight and not bent, and taped them to a 1/2-inch square hardwood strip. Placement of the baffles was pretty tricky, but I found that if I looked through each slit and only saw the illuminated grating, illuminated with a flashlight, then that would be perfect. Here's my synthesizer ready to go back into the Spectrohelioscope. I got my Pyrex mirrors aluminized and attached with 3M very high bond strength tape. And you can see my magnets pairs here. I put them on adjustable brackets so I can change the spacing. And I got a electromagnet on eBay for $1.19. It was a micro solenoid, and I just took it apart and got the electromagnet out of it. And I'm driving with this pulse width modulator circuit, and it has variable frequency, and I got that on eBay for $4. But it seems to work okay. It's kind of sensitive when you find the resonant point for the mirrors to vibrate at. But once you find it, it seems to work okay. Here's a laser bouncing off my synthesizer mirrors at about the distance they'll be used at. So it's got a pretty good usable width there. And I don't see much flicker except on the ends. I'm aspherizing my relay lens. Here I've carved out a rose petal pattern on my lap. And I'm polishing it. Polishing it by just holding it, stopping it from spinning as often as I can, but with a very small back and forth stroke on center, and hopefully that'll make it aspheric. Spin polishing with the pedal lap creates a lot of zones, so to smooth things out a bit, I used a sub-diameter regular lap with a little bit of a stroke to smooth things out. Next, I mounted my relay lens and holder on my synthesizer. The lens is held in place in the holder using 2 plastic tip set screws. This is my lens for focusing the different wavelengths, because each wavelength will have a different focus. I finished my plano convex lens, and I need to space it in here about 2 inches back from the end. So I cut off some pieces of tubing, cut them shorter so that they act as retainers, and I'll just push these in. Use an old card and help push it in. I got it marked on here about far. Okay. Then let's see, the concave side is over here, so the concave side will be forward, then this will be, it faces the objective. And then once that's in there, put a second retainer in and then push it down in. Piece of cake. So this is my box I added to the back end to hold the optics. I thought I put it on a hinge, and I thought that would give me enough access, but it wasn't. So I had to cut a hole over here to get better access to the optics. The other thing I found is the hinges aren't very stable, so I had to add some bolts to firmly attach it to the monochromator. This is my lens slides in and out for focus. In this picture, you can see my spectrohelioscope set up in front of my Zygo interferometer using the collimator output from my interferometer, which matches perfect the objective of the spectrohelioscope. You can see in this picture the image of the interferometer being scanned by the scan mirror. The alignment of the left fold mirror was checked with a simple laser collimator to make sure that the laser dot falls on the center of the slit. I'm using an 1.25 inch rack and pinion focuser because that's all I need. The image of the sun is only about 1 inch. I put some solder on a certain spot on the rack of the rack and pinion so that the focuser tube doesn't come in too far and hit the scan mirrors. Each fold mirror has a little bit of adjustment for tilt, and they can be rotated and screwed in and out for adjustment. The image of the sun will be way outside the racked out focuser, so I'll need to use an extension tube and probably a diagonal to boot. And I power the drive board with a 12 volt DC wall adapter. So that's where I stand on this project. I need to order an extension tube, maybe do some more alignment, checking out the alignment, and then make some sort of cover for the top hole that I cut out. And then I can finally try bringing the sun into this thing and see if it actually works. I spent a lot of time on this, and I bet the odds are about 50-50 that it'll work. Everyone's in quarantine, but please enjoy the crew. So I'm stuck here in my cabin with Corona-19 blue. I'm stuck here in my cabin, Corona-19